Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. B1. Marcus Aurelius. Welcome to another transformative journey on the Stoic Mind channel. Today we delve deep into an area often overlooked, understanding the weaknesses that lie beneath the surface, not for judgment but for growth. As men, mastering ourselves also involves understanding the weaknesses that affect those around us. This video will take you on a path illuminated by Stoic wisdom, revealing the top 10 female weaknesses that every man must know, not to exploit, but to strengthen bonds, build character, and deepen understanding. What if by understanding these challenges, you could elevate yourself and those close to you? Stick with me until the end, where we'll not only unravel these truths, but also discuss how Stoic principles guide us to rise above them with strength and empathy. Click play, and let's embark on this journey of self-mastery and relationship building through ancient wisdom. Trust me, by the end, you'll see things differently. 1. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a trait often rooted in insecurity or a need for control. It's a subtle yet potent weakness, often disguised in the guise of affection or concern. A woman who seeks to manipulate emotions will twist situations to her advantage, using guilt, fear, or praise to achieve her goals. You may have experienced this in personal relationships where, despite doing everything right, you're made to feel as if you've wronged her. This behavior goes against the Stoic principle of living in accordance with reason. As Seneca stated, "He who is controlled by emotion is a slave." Manipulation, at its core, is a departure from rational thinking. It turns love into a transactional game and peace into a fleeting state, always dependent on the other's emotional stability. When dealing with someone who manipulates emotions, a Stoic must remain centered. The key is to recognize manipulation as a form of weakness, rather than engaging with it on an emotional level. Don't react with frustration or anger. Instead, set clear boundaries and refuse to let the manipulation affect your emotional state. Practicing apatheia, freedom from destructive emotions, will allow you to navigate these situations without losing your peace. Example: consider a scenario where your partner constantly uses phrases like, "If you loved me, you'd do this," or "You never think about my feelings." This is emotional manipulation, where guilt is being used to bend your will. Instead of giving in, remain firm in your values and calmly explain that love is not about manipulation, but about mutual respect and understanding. By choosing not to engage in the emotional tug-of-war, you preserve your own peace and demonstrate the emotional control that Stoicism teaches. 2. Seeking validation through attention. The pursuit of external validation is a common trait, especially in the modern world, where social media and societal pressures fuel the need for constant approval. A woman who thrives on attention may base her self-worth on the number of compliments she receives or the admiration she gains from others. This craving for validation is an outward sign of inner insecurity, and while it may seem harmless at first, it often leads to deeper issues in relationships. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness comes from within. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." A woman who seeks validation from external sources is at the mercy of others' opinions, making her vulnerable to disappointment and anxiety. As a Stoic, it is essential to recognize this weakness and lead by example. Encourage her to find worth in her own character, not in the fleeting approval of others. However, do not become a source of constant validation yourself, as this will only feed the cycle. Instead, cultivate an environment of mutual respect and self-reliance, where each person finds their value within. Example: imagine a woman who is constantly seeking affirmation through her social media posts, basing her happiness on the number of likes and comments she receives. When the attention wanes, so does her confidence, leading to mood swings and emotional instability. In such a case, a Stoic response would be to encourage her to focus on her inner strengths and achievements, reminding her that external validation is temporary. The goal is to help her see that real confidence comes from within, not from the fluctuating opinions of others. 3. Fear of solitude. For many, solitude is an uncomfortable experience. It's in those quiet moments when the noise of the world fades that we are left alone with our thoughts. Some women, however, may fear solitude so deeply that they fill their lives with distractions, whether through constant social engagements, relationships, or endless digital consumption, to avoid the discomfort of being alone. Stoicism teaches us that solitude is not something to be feared, but embraced. In solitude, we find the space for reflection, growth, and self-mastery. As Epictetus wisely said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom comes from the ability to be content with one's own company without relying on the presence of others for fulfillment. A Stoic man must lead by example, showing that solitude is not a punishment but a gift. Encourage her to spend time in quiet reflection, to learn to enjoy her own company, and to see solitude as an opportunity for personal growth. By doing so, you both strengthen your emotional independence. Example: consider a woman who constantly seeks your company or the company of friends, unable to spend even a few hours alone without feeling anxious or lonely. This may manifest in clingy behavior or a need for constant reassurance. In this situation, gently encourage her to take time for herself. Suggest activities like journaling, reading, or simply walking in nature, things that foster self-reflection. Let her know that solitude is not something to run from, but a powerful tool for building inner strength and clarity. 4. Excessive materialism. In a world obsessed with consumerism, materialism has become a common weakness. Some women place great importance on material possessions, equating their worth to the brands they wear, the cars they drive, or the homes they live in. While there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying material comforts, the danger lies in allowing these possessions to define one's identity. For the Stoic, material possessions are fleeting and ultimately insignificant. Epictetus reminds us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. True contentment comes from needing less, not from acquiring more. The pursuit of material wealth can lead to a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction, as there will always be something new to covet. A Stoic must be mindful of this weakness in those around him. If a woman is overly focused on materialism, it's essential to model a life of simplicity and contentment. Show her that true happiness comes from within, not from external objects. While it's important to provide for oneself and enjoy the fruits of one's labor, remind her that possessions are temporary and their value pales in comparison to inner peace. Example: imagine a woman who constantly talks about upgrading her wardrobe, her car, or her home, always chasing the next luxury item. Her happiness seems tied to her ability to accumulate more, yet she is never truly satisfied. In this scenario, a Stoic man would lead by example, demonstrating that joy comes from simplicity and gratitude. By choosing to live with fewer wants and focusing on personal growth rather than material gain, you encourage her to reconsider her relationship with material possessions. 5. Emotional reactivity. Emotional reactivity is a powerful force that can wreak havoc on relationships. A woman who is emotionally reactive may respond to minor inconveniences with outbursts of anger, frustration, or sadness. Her emotions, rather than her reason, dictate her actions, leading to impulsive decisions and unnecessary conflict. The Stoics believed that emotional control is one of the highest virtues. As Marcus Aurelius stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional reactivity often stems from a lack of self-awareness and control, and it is the Stoics' duty to practice emotional regulation and encourage the same in others. When dealing with emotional reactivity, remain calm and composed. Don't mirror the emotional intensity. Instead, respond with logic and understanding. Help her see that reacting impulsively only amplifies the problem, and that by practicing restraint, she can find peace in the midst of chaos. Example: consider a woman who becomes upset over minor misunderstandings, such as a late response to a text or a forgotten task. She may escalate the situation, turning a small issue into a larger argument. In such a case, the Stoic response is to remain calm and patient. Instead of fueling the emotional fire, offer a rational explanation and gently encourage her to take a step back before reacting. Teach her the value of responding with reason, not emotion, by embodying that principle yourself. 6. Insecurity and jealousy. Insecurity and jealousy are often intertwined, and they can be particularly damaging in relationships. A woman who feels insecure may express her fears through jealousy, doubting your loyalty or resenting the time you spend with others. This behavior is a reflection of her own internal struggles, not of your actions. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate security from within. Seneca wisely observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Insecurity and jealousy stem from a place of craving attention, validation, and reassurance. A Stoic man, grounded in his own confidence, must recognize that this craving cannot be satisfied by external means. When faced with jealousy or insecurity, do not offer endless reassurances, as this will only perpetuate the cycle. Instead, model confidence and emotional stability. Help her understand that her worth is not determined by your actions or the actions of others, but by her own character. Example: imagine a woman who frequently questions your relationships with female friends or feels threatened by your independence. Her jealousy may manifest in accusations or demands for more attention. In this situation, it's important to remain calm and composed. Explain that trust is the foundation of any strong relationship and that jealousy undermines that trust. Encourage her to focus on her own strengths and to find confidence within herself, rather than seeking constant reassurance from you. 7. Lack of emotional independence. Emotional independence is a cornerstone of Stoicism. A Stoic strives to be self-sufficient, finding strength and peace from within rather than relying on others for emotional stability. However, some women may struggle with emotional independence, leaning heavily on their partners for support, happiness, and validation. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Emotional independence requires self-awareness and discipline. A woman who lacks this independence may become overly dependent on her partner, expecting him to fill the emotional void that only she can truly address. As a Stoic, it is important to encourage emotional independence in those around you. Offer support and love, but do not become her sole source of happiness or validation. Help her cultivate her own inner strength by encouraging self-reflection, personal growth, and resilience. Example: consider a woman who constantly seeks your attention, needing reassurance that you love her or that she's valuable. She may struggle with feelings of inadequacy and rely on your presence to feel secure. In this situation, a Stoic man would encourage her to engage in activities that foster personal growth, such as pursuing hobbies, journaling, or spending time alone in reflection. By helping her build emotional independence, you not only strengthen the relationship, but you also empower her to find peace and confidence within herself. 8. Unchecked vanity. Vanity, though often subtle, can be a deeply ingrained weakness. A woman overly concerned with her appearance may spend excessive time and energy perfecting her outer image, believing that beauty is the key to happiness and success. However, Stoicism teaches us that true beauty comes from within and that external appearances are fleeting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Vanity, much like materialism, is a distraction from the pursuit of wisdom and virtue. While there's nothing wrong with taking pride in one's appearance, placing too much importance on physical beauty can lead to insecurity and superficiality. A Stoic man must recognize when vanity becomes excessive and gently encourage a shift in focus. Help her understand that inner beauty, character, wisdom, and kindness holds far greater value than outward appearance. Lead by example, demonstrating that true confidence comes from a well-cultivated mind, not from external validation. Example: imagine a woman who is constantly concerned with her appearance, always seeking the perfect outfit, makeup, or hairstyle. Her confidence seems to waver depending on how she looks or how others perceive her. In this case, a Stoic man would encourage her to focus on her inner qualities, such as her intelligence, compassion, or creativity. Compliment her on these traits rather than her appearance, and help her see that true beauty is found in the strength of character, not in physical perfection. 9. Over-reliance on emotions for decision-making. In Stoicism, emotions are seen as natural but often unreliable guides when it comes to making important decisions. Some women may rely heavily on their emotions when faced with difficult choices, allowing temporary feelings to cloud their judgment. While emotions are a part of the human experience, they are not always aligned with reason and logic. As the Stoics teach, it is essential to make decisions based on wisdom, not emotions. Seneca reminds us we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Emotions can distort reality, leading to impulsive actions that may not serve our best interests. A Stoic man must encourage logical thinking and patience in decision-making. When faced with a woman who relies too much on her emotions, offer a calm, rational perspective. Help her see beyond her immediate feelings and consider the long-term consequences of her actions. Encourage her to take time to reflect before making important decisions, and remind her that wisdom comes from clarity, not from emotional impulsivity. Example, consider a woman who is faced with a difficult decision, such as whether to leave her job or end a friendship. She may be overwhelmed by emotions, making it difficult for her to think clearly. In this situation, a Stoic man would gently guide her toward a more logical approach. Encourage her to take a step back from her emotions and consider the pros and cons of each option. 10. Fear of change. Change is a constant in life, yet many fear it, clinging to the familiar even when it no longer serves them. A woman who fears change may resist new opportunities, relationships, or personal growth, choosing instead to remain in her comfort zone. This fear can lead to stagnation and prevent her from reaching her full potential. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Stoicism teaches us that change is inevitable and should be embraced, not feared. Growth and wisdom come from stepping into the unknown, and by accepting change, we build resilience and strength. When faced with a woman who fears change, a Stoic man must be patient and supportive. Help her see that change is not something to fear, but an opportunity for growth. Encourage her to take small steps toward embracing new experiences, and remind her that discomfort is a necessary part of personal development. Example, imagine a woman who is hesitant to take on a new job opportunity or to move to a new city, even though it would benefit her in the long run. Her fear of the unknown holds her back from making positive changes in her life. In this case, a Stoic man would offer reassurance and support, but also gently encourage her to step outside of her comfort zone. Remind her that growth comes from facing challenges and that change is a natural and essential part of life. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey, we see that understanding weaknesses is not about judgment, but about growth for ourselves and others. The Stoic path is about mastering the inner self, understanding emotions, and using that understanding to build stronger, more meaningful relationships. By applying these principles, you gain clarity and emotional resilience, traits that few possess in today's world. If you're ready to continue this journey towards self-mastery and enlightenment, make sure to subscribe to the Stoic Mind channel. Leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and let's grow together as a community, using the wisdom of the ancients to navigate our modern lives.